Hello, Javi.
Hello.
We have a note taker. I guess we can keep it.
Yeah, kick it out if you want.
It's up to you. You are the host. Hi, Roberto.
Hello. Hey guys.
I cannot take it out. So hello.
Hello. Hey. Javi's
Hi,
back.
John.
Oh.
Yes, finally.
Hey.
Who is
It
Javi?
happened.
Good to see you guys.
Cool. So let me try sharing my screen as we usually do, and we will run the usual presentation. So reminder, sorry, let me just stop sharing for a while. Yeah, as we always say, we start by the antitrust policy notice and code of conduct. So please comply and read those trust policies if you want to be participating in these calls. Then today we are going to have the usual agenda. We are going to have a little bit more of content today. First, we will have Gonzalo introduce or reintroduce the Swift SDK issuance and how he's planned to achieve that. Then we recently made a big release that is the 2.16 release, and we will introduce the changes that got out during that release. We are also planning to establish the goals and scope for the next release, 2.17, which will involve all the components. And then I'm going to be talking at the end about the SDKTS roadmap, about improving type safety, and then introducing a couple of packages that we are going to be including in the SDKTS repository. Cool. So having that said, I guess the floor is for Gonzalo. Sorry if he joined already. Okay, not yet. Well, let's do something. We'll call Gonzalo out on Slack, and then whenever he joins, we can go back on slide and then get back to SDK issuance on Swift. Cool. So around this, I am not going to go in detail on what has been released and what not. Then everything can be either found by going into this link where every single change is listed in there, or also in the TypeScript SDK case, which is a big breaking change for version 6 to version 7. We added a specific entry in the documentation website that is talking about every single breaking change. I do not foresee many people having problems because some libraries that were exposed were not strictly needed if you didn't go to use the core directly. So yeah, and for Swift, no changes. Kotlin, no changes for now. Kotlin is a little bit on pause. I'm not sure if somebody else wants to talk about the cloud agent or the mediator, which I am a little bit less aware of.
Oh, there is nothing special. Cloud Agent contains a fix that we made for searchers with revocation list cryptography to support 825519 suite as well, and a couple of upgrades and bug fixes. Same with the mediator. It's a version 1.2.0. I missed 1.0 in this stuff, and it supports also Mongo connection string and some upgrades and bug fixes as well. Yep.
That is a very good one, actually, the mediator
In
one.
release notes, we also introduced the NeoPrism component because we invested some time into this component as well. And in the next release, we are considering to deprecate the Prism node in favor of NeoPrism to make setup more lighter.
Cool. So we
Yep,
are
this is
going to start. we are going to start seeing NeoPrism in replacement for the other one, I guess.
Yep. Right now, we can just recommend you to use NeoPrism as a standalone application, for instance, as a did resolver or did registrar. And in the next milestone release, we will adapt it better into the Docker files and technology stack.
Cool. Great job, guys. Awesome. I guess we can now go to the next release, goals and scope. As we are getting close to the end of the year, it comes to start finishing and completing the VDR Catalyst proposal and making sure that we have every single implementation and workshop and session organized. I think we are soon going to be organizing a session on the community call or in another date, but organized by the foundation, I guess. Or how do you guys want to plan the proposal thing? That's
I guess
literally a
might
question.
be a part of community call, Javi, and if it's not enough, we can organize it wider. But
Yeah,
I
I
would
think
start with the community call.
as soon as it's recorded, it's okay.
Yes.
Cool. So on VCDM 2.0, this is something that we probably have in our scope, but with all the things that we need to make, I don't foresee being our top priority. It's basically implementing the new verifiable credential data model on the SDKs and making sure all of them comply with it. I think Swift is already capable, if not already, very soon, it's going to be capable of handling those. Then I also made sure that we are specific about ongoing TypeScript SDK improvement and maintenance, which I will talk about later. Support Prism did in the mediator, that's with exclamation marks, but I guess that we can either start the discussion in here as a GitHub discussion and participate on the decision making and see stuff like that. And then, yeah, general maintenance, I would say, bugs, documentation improvements, and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, quick question. So what's the Prism data mediator feature? Can you elaborate a little bit on
So the
how?
mediator, I can talk about
Yep.
that. So the
Cool.
mediator currently is like supporting it's using the did peer for communication. So the goal there is just to add, and it's basically done. It's not tested, but the goal there is to use the did Prisma for communication. So without having any did peer. So the user, basically the identity that is sending didcom message is the did peer. So it's
But
just support for that.
But Fabio, in case this did was for a Web3 wallet, do we expect this did to be signing every single message?
So that is the goal for the mediator, to support did peer in the communication. So basically it's a resolver and it's a basically it's a resolver.
I understand, but from my side, with the website hat wearing, I'm thinking that I cannot ask the user to sign every single message with their Web3 wallet.
No, it's support. It doesn't mean it doesn't support PeerDid anymore. It still supports PeerDid, but also supports PrismDid, right? Then.
So
Yeah, but-
okay, yeah, but he's asking like, okay, in order to sign any messages that go through DIDCOM with Prism did, you need access to the private key to sign every communication, basically. And access to the private key or the interface to access that, I think on a Web3 wallet is, that you need to either do a biometric or something, or a PIN or something to access that and get it running, right? I don't know.
That's the same for PeerDid.
So the discussions on there is that for me personally, I would like to have on my did peer, did Prisma, but basically the identity that I am or that I use for everything, to have that a key there that I can use it without having like to put my mnemonic key and this generate that private key, and I want some key that I can just use it, like a simple key. So it would be like stored in the wallet, but not really encrypted in the sense that
Okay.
as the other keys are encrypted. So that is my opinion. So I would like to have some key there that I can use it. Like that key doesn't need to be generated from the mnemonic key. It can be just some key generated on the device and stored on the device.
Yeah.
And that you
Okay.
add on.
PrismDid supports octet curves now. So ED25519 and X25519.
Okay, I see. So we basically do the same that we are doing now. We only use the
Yeah.
Web3 wallet to create the transaction and submit it.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
the same way
Okay.
it works. Also, the mediator doesn't sign keys, doesn't sign the.
No, the mediator doesn't. But every peer that connects to each other and every payload, it has to be signed, right? And that's like I think Javis was asking.
Yes, but but that's already done with PeerDid, right?
Yeah.
It's just like supporting now the resolution of Prism. If we use other method like PrismDid, right? It's now supported. So you might not want to use peer method, right? You might want to use Prism, and this will be supported. But the rest is completely the same.
Yeah.
On the web wallet or on the web mobile or so on, it's completely the same.
So basically, the feature on the mediator is just a resolver. So you could use like did peer with did Prisma. Doesn't matter who is who.
Yeah,
It's just a resolver to resolve the did document.
Okay. All right. So my only observation is that dip here is disposable for a reason in order to keep it, untied to your basic identities. Now it's to keep it very private. Like even if it gets leaked, it doesn't really matter. There's no association back to you, and it's basically a encrypted channel that a random key gets generated, and once the connection gets established, everything goes through there, and then you can switch to another channel or whatever. And then, right, so using depend how to use PrismDid in order to achieve the same thing.
Hold on, I know where you are going, but in our case, whenever we are generating a key, it has entropy. So it is not going to be generating a wrong key. Like it has a derivation path, and each key that we generate is enough.
And
I think it's not wrong.
Like PeerDids, right? It can be the same for for example, every new connection, right? We have a new PeerDid. At least on this case. How the SDKs work, right? Every new connection, they create a new PeerDid.
Random one, yes.
A random one.
Yes.
So
and are we doing the same for PrismDid, or are
No.
we reusing the same PrismDid
Depends on logic.
for this feature?
Right now on the SDKs, we don't do that. But if you use PrismDid on your side, you can do that with PrismDid.
Right.
But I think go on, sorry, Robert.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, what I was saying that I
just,
think, but for example,
just one thing before you show that I think might be confusing. This is a resolver on the mediator, right? We didn't do any changes on the SDK. The SDK is, at least for now, it's not going to start using PrismDid for DIDCOM communication. Okay, so everything remains the same, right? Just now the mediator can resolve PrismDids and can support PrismDids, so you can do the same for with PrismDids.
I see. Okay.
So the way that
sorry for interrupting you. I guess that we have to properly elaborate this feature in all components that we're going to use. And theoretically, we need to start this implementation from the mediator. But at the same time, each SDK and even Cloud Agent should have this option to use PrismDid for communication, which also impacts number of other components.
Sure, but it's not there now. That's what I'm saying. There is nothing like that now on the SDKs.
No, I
let's-
wanted to clarify high-level picture, how it's going to work and try to
okay.
read. Okay, and
What
the
is the
plan is
problem
that
with peer
start
did?
with mediator and then proceed with other component.
I also don't see any advantage of, to be honest, using Prism did, because we should keep the identity did separate and keep the communication did separate. I don't know why we are mixing it, really.
I mean, you are opinionated about that. My perspective is that I want to imagine that I want to build a service like that provides credentials. I want my identity to be something well known. I don't want to change my identity each time I open a connection. So I'm this guy, I'm this peer, I'm this deep prism. I don't change my identity. So when I generate, because I want to build some trust on my identity. I don't want to be changing every single time. So when I send a message, I'm okay, I'm sending you the credential. I'm using the deed that I'm managing. I don't care what the wallet is using. It can be deed peer or it can be deed Prisma or any other deed, but the message that I'm sending, I'm trying to sign with my identity that I manage. And a deed Prisma I can manage, a deed peer I cannot manage. It's static. So
Well,
that is my perspective.
but you can achieve the same with the message.
Yeah,
You can achieve the same with the message saying, okay, so my identity, it's like a protocol, let's say a protocol that we create in DITCOM, that now it's identity protocol, and in the message you say, okay, so this is my DIT. That is a prison DIT. And I use this peer DIT just to communicate with this person.
Yeah, you can add that at the application level, like,
Yeah.
and to me, the less correlation risk, the better. And I just don't see what's
Well-
wrong with it. I understand if you want reputation, but reputation should be an application choice. And you can do that with any number of ways, but the protocol, the underlying protocol should be as non-correlatable as possible. My opinion.
Yeah.
I think there's use case for both. Like if you want to build some sort of social network where you need reputation and you need to like some people, well, on Blue Skies and others, they just publish their public key on their profile, and that's how can you
Yeah,
check
but
whether
you
the
can build that
communications
in.
is
You have the choice to
Yeah.
build that. If you
Right.
don't have that at the protocol level, you don't have the choice to do both.
The reality is the only difference is peer DIT can be mostly resolved by its own. And Prism DIT, if we're going to follow the specs, it's more hard to resolve because you need
Yeah.
access to the Cardano database and so on. But you can do the same folds with both DIT methods without a problem. Like the peer DIT can be your identity, Fabio. Nothing says the peer DIT cannot be your identity.
Yeah, but it's not manageable.
It is manageable.
It's static.
Yeah, it's static, but it can be your identity. Being static doesn't mean it cannot be your identity. Being static sometimes is a feature, not a
So-
bug.
I don't think a peer did. Hold on, Fabio. I don't think a peer did is a valid identifier. It is a unique number, a unique session ID or whatever it is, because every single time we create a new one that has no correlation.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
at the same time, yes, I agree that.
But that's
But
what
at
we
the
do.
Hold on, I understand. But at the same time, whenever we are creating the keys in Apollo, we are having this derivation path. And over creating this public key, we are hashing, we are adding random data into it. So I doubt that this is not a strong enough solution to not be able to correlate.
Sure, but what I mean is it doesn't matter, right? That's our fault. Both methods can achieve the same.
Yeah, of course.
The biggest difference is the Prism DIT you can update private keys. You can update the you can
Yeah, you can manage that.
you
and-
can
and it-
manage these things, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
A life cycle.
which is not possible with the PRD, right? But in other way around, Prism DIT is way more difficult to resolve if you want to
But
follow.
Yeah.
but Gonzalo, there is one more thing. Okay, that's fine. It is updatable and everything. So that means either you have to, as a user, you need to use same date, or if you are keep on changing the date, need to keep on publishing the date, and you need to keep on paying for that. So I don't think
But
it adds
that's a
more advantage. But
sure, but
anyway,
Shavish, like that's a choice. It doesn't really matter, right? So the thing is, let's say tomorrow we add this feature to the SDKs, right?
mhm.
When we add this feature to the SDKs, this will be a choice from the user to do it the way we do or not, to do it peer did or Prism did.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, but do we think that this is something going to add more user base for Identus, or like does
I
this?
don't know, but there are some I can see some use cases
Yeah.
where Prism did would be more useful than a peer did, for example, right? I can see
Yeah,
Okay, if that
when
is
you
the
want
case,
to
then yes, definitely, yeah.
when you want to correlate and when you want to have that feature, then purely is not enough. Like you need, if you want to back up your communication channel with somebody else by your identity, then yes, it makes total sense to use PrismDid instead of PeerDid.
But also think that whenever we are talking about correlation, but looking at the mediator side, what's the point of having this correlation discussion if at the end of the day you are still calling an endpoint that has a specific URL?
So that's another question that I had is, so why the mediator has to resolve that bit in order to work? I don't think they do they?
need
Because
to resolve
it
to get
keeps
the service.
Yeah, it
to
needs.
get the service endpoint. Okay, yeah. To get the Bitcom endpoints. All right.
Yeah.
Where it's embedded into the PRD, right? It's not on
Yeah.
it's not on the full document. So yeah, you need the full DIT payload in order to get the services from a DIT peer. Okay, yeah,
Also,
and for that you need the infrastructure or calling an API endpoint. So either you resolve yourself or use a service, an API or something, right?
yeah, I also have a doubt, Fabio. I think currently the DITCOM SDKs libraries that exist just work with PRDIT.
Not,
Yeah, most likely.
not really.
But wouldn't, hold on, if we use the long DIT, or are we deprecating long DITs, right? Because that basically will have the services right there without the need to have the resolver into the mediator.
But Gonzalo,
Versus,
the Mercury libraries that we created need 2 or 3 things. They
But the
need
Mercury library
a secret resolver and a DIT resolver or something like that.
no, it has a secret resolver. It doesn't have a DID resolver in it. I guess not.
Mine has, for sure.
The Mercury, yes, but the DITCOM library, it doesn't, I think.
I think it does. Well, anyway,
That's easy to check. Always.
It is a feature that we introduced. There is no need to yeah, we
Yeah, but
can just.
I'm with the impression that so there is a secret resolver wrapper, right? And a DID resolver as well. It seems. Yes, there's a DID resolver as well.
That's what I remember. Yeah.
At least on mine, there's also a DID resolver. But I built this library. I don't know if the other
But
one.
I think I remember that we tried changing it at some point, and I think we found a problem in the libraries itself. But we may be wrong.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, if all the libraries have the DID resolver thing, yeah. So forget what I did, what I asked.
What you did.
What I asked.
Couldn't you choose
What
a
was
better
the
word?
question that you were going to ask, Roberto? Before
what?
what was the question?
Yeah, it's about why the mediator needs to resolve, and then Gonzalo said, yeah, to get the service, the endpoints, to communicate, to parse and communicate the each channel, basically each peer. So, but if we use the long DIT, then it's right there.
Yeah, but the process of resolving it is the coding and getting the JSON object, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I was just thinking or trying to work around the extra complexity of having to add the resolver to the mediator and connect it to the mediator. I mean, sorry, the mediator connected to the resolver. Because that's a whole, extra infrastructure and all that. But I think it has a valid use case. I do think it has a valid use case when you do want to correlate and when you need to, especially for public entities, like, because that's the other thing, like when you are organization or public entity, you need your communications to be easily distinguishable and correlated, right? When you are talking person to person, maybe DPR is the best thing for privacy and all that. But there are legit use cases for organizations to.
But it doesn't matter. Like, again, from my opinion, the fact that we create deeds that are not correlated, that are present deeds, depends on using the hardened derivation or not using the hardened derivation. If we use the hardened derivation, which is, in my opinion, the one that we are using, then you cannot correlate two deeds because you know the path. That's what happens in Cardano, right? That you can see the different addresses, but it depends on the hardening options, let's say.
Oh, okay, so Prism has the two options.
It's like the keys. That's around the keys.
Yes,
right.
Itself. So the peer did what we use as right now, right? We have logic and the AD25519 and X25519. They are hardened. Okay. So they cannot be correlated as well. But that's around the key, right? We can do that for SegP256K1 and for the ED2556 and for the X255, right? But when we create a deed, we create with those keys, right? The deed will not know this is hardened or not.
But deed itself is correlated, right? In this case.
No.
Huh?
Why?
No. The deed is created based on this information, right? The information is the public keys. And what you harden is not the public keys. It's, well, you can, but it's the private keys that you harden.
Of course, but if you harden the private key and you generate a public key, you cannot recover the other public keys from that public key.
No, you cannot.
That's hardening. Yeah, that is the explanation of hardening.
Well, you could never recover other public keys.
Okay, so hold on. Let me rewind a little bit and make sure I understand this. When I create a Prism wallet, right, and I create the seed phrase and assign a seed phrase, and it creates our master key, right?
I need to check it. I know what
from
you're
that. Yeah, from that moment on, if I ask the SDK, hey, create me DID Prism, right? My first DID Prism, because I know there's a difference between the master seed phrase key that gets everything else deviated from. And I asked that thing, hey, through the SDK, of course, hey, give me a DID Prism because I want to use this one for communication.
It really depends. So we don't have that full right now, right? But for example, you can pass your own derivation path.
Yes, that's an option now. And I remember there was a bug that it always was zero, so it was always the same.
Yes, and now it's not, right? You can pass the derivation path, right? We don't have that functionality inserted right now, right? We have a functionality for the peer deed, right? That will always increase the index of the derivation path for the peer deed, okay? But for Prism deed right now we don't have anything like that.
Well, Gonzalo, it's the opposite. We have derivation paths in Prism deed.
And we don't have on the peer deeds.
Peer deed is totally random. There is no derivation path.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the breadcrumb that ties back any DID Prism created by the SDK back to your master key, basically, on the wallet, right?
Also because the normal ED25519 and X25519 that is the most used on DITCOM. It's they are they have randomness already on it, right? So actually, what we use for the derivation path that we don't use on this case, right? For ED25509 and X25509, what we use is based on the Cardano CPI, CYP. Okay. So because this is not FIPS normal thing. Normally, ED25519 is not a hardened wallet. It's not a hardened key. So you cannot create a hardened wallet with it. There's like a CIP for it, and like there's some modifications on this.
So we currently cannot create uncorrelated bit prisms.
Yes, at the moment they are not related at all. They are all built on randomness. You just create a new one, right? And you register the mediator as it is yours.
Remember, the first thing that I said is that, in my opinion, the deeds already have enough entropy. This is because whenever we are creating the public keys for that deed, it has HMAC, it has hashing, it has some static values, but other dynamic values that are random. So in my opinion, it is enough random.
Also, there's one thing we are forgetting, okay? They are related, not in the SDK, but they are related on the mediator. Okay? Because
so
when you register the first step you do for the mediator, right, is you register your deed, right? And then you register like shell deeds. I don't remember what it's called, right? But every deed you created, you register as yours as well.
Okay, let me rephrase the question then. If I create two different deed prisms, one for you and one for Javi, and we have a communication channel. If there's a third person involved, by reading the public key from both of those deed prisms, can they know that those two deed prisms belong to the same original wallet, or were created by the same original master key?
If the public keys are equal.
Yeah, of course, but
no, you cannot.
In this case, they will not be equal, right? So you cannot correlate
You cannot.
You cannot correlate two different prisms, saying, oh, these two belong to the same.
No. That's not completely true, right? The public key, one of the public keys can be equal. The deed can be different, and one of the public keys can be equal. Like private and public keys, they are a pair, right? When you have one, you have another. Like they are not different. They don't differ, right? The public key is always created from the private key.
Yes.
They don't differ, right? So right now you can for example, if you have a deed that has multiple private keys, right?
Gonzalo, don't complicate it. Don't complicate it. The point is that you cannot know that this deed was created using the same master seed or public key or whatever, and you cannot do that.
You can.
So
no, you cannot, Gonzalo. What you are saying is with the deed itself has information there that you can correlate. But
no, but what I'm saying,
if you start from different paths on the
if they have a different deviation path, then it's not correlatable.
If you have a different deviation path, right, for all the keys, it's not relatable. Now, if you have just one single public key that are in two different deeds, you can relate those two different deeds are from the same person.
Yeah, because you're reusing the public key.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But normally, of course. But normally,
that's what I'm saying.
If you create this deed with a different path, they won't be correlatable.
Yeah. No. And even so, you can never get what is the seed from the public key, right? So that's
of course. Yeah. But the thing is, okay. So then later, then if that is true, then basically Prism deeds can be used like this peer for uncorrelatable, new communication channels, because they will be different keys. that cannot be correlatable back to the origin entity
Yes,
or
but
wallet, right?
as Gonzalo is saying, the mediator needs to know who you are, and then you will have sub-deeds or children deeds, which you will use with each communication. And I don't know, like at the end
But
of the day, the mediator is a database that needs to store your identity and who you are. So the mediator can.
But wouldn't the mediator treat you like a new, like if you
No,
connect?
no, because the message that you send,
Uh-huh.
so you always have a deed, right? That connects a peer deed that
To the
connects,
mediator. Ah, I see.
right?
So,
And when
Okay.
you send the new deeds, right?
Yeah.
You send with this deed that you are connected to the mediator.
Yeah.
again, that's
So
why
you have one
this,
deed for the mediator and another for the direct to the other person.
Yes.
But you wrote through the mediator using the same deed on every connection that you sent out.
Exactly.
but that is the application that was designed like that. You can register in the mediator with every single deed. So you guys are discussing things that it's like because of the implementation. It's implementation details. It's not like a problem of the mediator or something like that. It's like
Yeah. It's implemented that way.
if you trust the mediator to keep your message, maybe you trust the mediator to also not to say all those deeds are registered by the same person or something like that.
Yeah. But in the same way, you can register all the deeds for you can just achieve mediation with all the deeds, right? You don't register them on one, but you register them as one always, you know. But then you need to ask the mediator, like for all the like all the deeds, right? In multiple API calls in separated, and that's not performance, right? Performance wise, that's not good.
Cool, guys. Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to suggest that we try not getting stuck in this specific point about deeds.
We can move forward.
Yeah. And if we have time at the end, feel free to stay and we continue talking about it. Awesome. What else? Okay, so type safety. So many people manifested that we don't have like full type safety in the TypeScript SDK, and I partially agree on that. So how we are going to transition to be a more type safe SDK is by making sure that not only at build time or at compile time that we have type safety, but after at runtime. Because on JavaScript, especially on JavaScript, if you are passing an object and then you are not using types, well, it doesn't matter actually. In JavaScript, there is no types literally, so you can pass any object whenever. So it is worth validating that whenever at build time or at compile time we wanted to have something typed, at runtime we know for sure it is properly done. And then how I propose that we do this in 2 or 3 phases. First, identify the areas where we need to improve the types, which are not going to be a lot. And then the biggest amount of work, in my opinion, is identifying where we need to have stronger validation. So making sure that the string is a string, the number is a number, and so on. And then implement it in very small tickets that anyone could pick up, or we can explore automations and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's one of the 2 things. And then on the following, I recently it's like today, I shared with the team my intentions to try and share these community projects with Identus. One is the Identus React one that helps you build identity products with the SDK by using React hooks and React friendly code, and it allows you to do everything that an issuer, a verifier, or a holder requires in a Web3, in a React application. And then the other one is the offline first agent that is already available, and it is an implementation of the agent that runs entirely in a browser that stores everything in the browser, and it's basically using 100% of Identus. I think it will make a lot more sense whenever the VDR is completed, because it will be a very decentralized approach to do everything directly on the blockchain, and you will no longer need a middleman to tell you if something is valid or not. This anyway requires big changes in the SDK, like moving to workspaces, which may seem like a small change, but Alain and myself have already tried moving to workspaces and first of all moving to Yarn, and it is not so simple. So then first of all, we will prepare the SDK for having new packages. As soon as this is done, we will explore bringing the React one, and then last one, probably the offline first. Cool. I guess we are done for today. We can either continue. I'm not sure if you guys have questions about the roadmap or the projects that are we still using the projects? That's maybe a question for the.
Weren't we going to talk about the offline?
Yeah, Gonzalo needs to present his slide, right?
Oh,
Can we go back
yes.
to that?
That's true, Gonzalo.
Oh, I
Right.
already passed it. Sorry. Right. Sorry about that. Cool. Let me share then. I think I can. Can you let me share, please?
No. Yes, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you?
Cool. Yeah, cool. So yeah, I already found an error that I have to fix on the documentation. Yeah, but I will present this with the documentation, right? So this part of the SDK documentation already. And so what is this? This basically the Swift SDK can now issue this JWT and SD-JWT credentials. Okay, so right now we have this API, right, with the claim builder, and this API basically this on the Edge agent SDK, right, and basically you can pass the issuer deed and it will get the well, this is not correct. You already talked with me and is right, but you will get the first key, right? But in the future I'm going to change this to just get the proper key, the issuance key. So how does this work, right? This is very similar for both, right? So this is pretty cool how it works. Let's say issue a W3C JWT credential, right? So right now with this, let's say we have the edge agent in here, right? We can pass the type that we require, right? Let's say VCJWT, right? And now we have all these, this is like a DSL, right? So we can pass this. So let's say we want a W3C V2 context claim, right? We want a W3C issuer claim that has the issuer deed string. This can be an object as well, so it can be formatted like this, right? But it needs an ID because the issuer claim can always needs an ID. W3C type claim, right? You can add other type of claims that are JSON, strings, numbers, bool. You can add objects, you can add arrays, you can add everything, just like in a JSON, right? But it's all typed, okay? You can add the W3C credential subject claim, right? Where you add the ID, right? The subject ID, the name, right? I also added, like, let's say this university degree, I added the grades. It's an object claim, and inside there is like the grades for each subject, right? I added a claim that says if it is approved or not, right? I had a claim with an array of professors, right? And then it creates this object, right? This JWT credential, right? This comes as a credential, but the ID is always there. Tell me what? Okay, I don't guess. I guess it was not muted. And then you can see in here the paywall that he created, right? This is the JSON, right? As you can see, like the context, you didn't need to add. This is obliged by the specification of VCDM 2.0, right? That he needs to have this string, and it needs to be the first one. So it already takes care of this. It takes care of the subject. It takes care of the issuer, right? It takes care of every single thing that you need. You need the type, right? This is also on the specification. The type needs to be like this. As you see, you just added. You can add other types if you want, right? The API allows for that, right? It's all there, and it creates these. Now, how this differs, like what do we need to do to just make this an SDJWT where you can have these closable fields, right? So, for example, on V2, right, the context cannot be disclosable. The W3C issue cannot be disclosable. The type cannot be disclosable. The subject cannot be disclosable, right? The credential schema and the credential status cannot be disclosable, right? So what would differ in this to issue as SDJWT with disclosable variables, right? Let's say we want to make your name disclosable, right? So this would be just this. As you see, it's all the same, but what is disclosable as just the field that says disclosable to, right? And in here you can see like, okay, so the name is disclosable, the objects, the grades object is disclosable, if it is approved or not is disclosable, and the professor's array is disclosable. And if you go to the example output of SDJWT, right, is there, and as you can see, all the disclosable fields are hidden, right? As the SDJWT says, right? And if you after the older reviews the claims, right? I even have in here, I guess, the SDJWT thing or not. I can put. So I can even get in here, right? Oops. And go in here. Let me just copy this well. And as you see, like what I showed, and oh, it doesn't add the disclosable fields in here. Let me. Oh, damn it! I need to fix this as well. It's not. He added me the 3 dot in here, so I don't have the disclosable fields in here. Okay, cool, nice to know. I can show you guys in the Xcode. So I can show you guys because we have actually a test in here for the example cases, right? And I can show you guys. Let's just run this. It will be very fast. As you see, it's the code I just presented, right? It is very fast. Done. Now you have the credential in here, the SDJWT credential, right? And if we add in here with everything, you can see all the disclosures claims as you given, right? So basically anyone can create easily a W3C credential in here, issue it in the SDK, right? And it will be like W3C validated. We have validations for W3C credentials, right? So it will tell you, for example, if you don't have the type correct or if you don't have the context correct, right? It will show up as an error. And yeah, this is it. This is all the SDK issues now credentials with disclosable For example, if I added this in here in the JWT, right? It just basically ignores the disclosable part because JWT doesn't have disclosability, right? So it will work for any kind of credential. And there you go. There you go. It will work for any kind of credential, as you see.
So, Gonzalo, does it mean that everyone can issue credentials from the Apple Watch?
Yes. Yes. You can issue credentials from the Apple Watch. You can issue
And Apple
credentials
TV.
from the Mac, anywhere. Yeah, but this is it, right? You can even, like, I didn't add it because I didn't feel like, since we don't have VDR, it's not necessary, right? But for example, we can add an on-creds with this API, and it will create an on-creds credential without a niche. Okay? It will create the on-creds credential without a niche, which is pretty cool. Okay? But right now we don't have VDR to post the metadata of an on-creds credential, so it's not useful at all. So it's not needed. But yeah, this is it.
On your DSL, you have like on the array, you have a string, and the string have a key. That makes no sense.
Yeah,
So
I know, but
create
normally
another method for without that parameter.
no, I have, right? But the tests don't allow it. It's the test thing, I think, right? And normally you have this array array element claim, right? And then it has a string and so on, right? But it was not working, right? And I didn't just. I think I was losing time already, so I just gave it like this.
I don't like it like that.
Yeah, I don't see it as well, but it always needs a key because it's used as an object, right? If it is on array, the key is just like ignored, so it
But
doesn't.
why don't you create another class that doesn't have the key? Just have the value.
Just repetition, I think. I don't think it's really needed.
For type safety. But okay, you decide.
Yeah, well, yeah. I just think it's not really needed. We can have it like this. It's okay. I could also put it like this. I could also put it like this, you know. And then I could just do this.
So what happens if it has two keys the same? Does it report the error nicely? Or
Yeah,
not?
it reports an error. It doesn't allow for it to happen. Okay. So while these validations are done, we even have a validation in here that is operations. So we even have like this validation, right? It verifies like the object itself. So if it is not codable, it already give you an error. I don't know if I gave you, I don't know if John or Roberto already knew, but Swift already handles VCDM 2.0, VCDM 1.0, and 1.1, right? And yeah, you can already use this new verifiable credential type, right? That is specific to VCDM, right? And you can add all that you need. And then you can also have the envelopes that are basically this one. No, not this one. What is that? Yeah, sorry, my bad. This one, right? So this is an envelope now, right? just like the specifications. It's an envelope with what the SDK give, but like you can always, it's with generics and stuff, so you can always give your own objects to then do stuff. So for example, if you want, you can always do like let's say the default envelope, right? You can always get the VC, right? And then you can decode as, let's say, your own VC, John VC object, right? And you will try to decode it with that.
Gonzalo, 3 minutes.
Cool, I'm done.
Very nice, beautiful meeting. You see how what it takes to fill in the hour. Some of us were concerned that we maybe have difficulties filling the hour from now on, but I think that we won't. Let's see. Also, Fabio made a post on Discord around scheduling the meetings bi-weekly or leaving them as it is. So if any of you want to give feedback or comment your opinions, then please feel free. You are more than welcome to bring your points to the table. And that will be it for today, I guess.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
So guys,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.